We've all tried to be the integrated builder on a Saturday afternoon. You buy an IKEA bookshelf, look at the box, and think you're finally applying the internal rules. You declare yourself the master of particle board, only to find you've built a leaning tower of regret. The same breakdown happens on your commute. You sit in gridlock, taking deep breaths, deciding to yield to the traffic. You are a monk in a Honda Civic. Then, a BMW violently swerves into your lane without a blinker, and your composure evaporates in a quarter of a second. Both of these meltdowns happen because we try to force our ego's plan, the content, without respecting the unpredictable external environment, the context. We assume repeating a mantra about architecture will manifest a bookshelf, ignoring the reality of a missing wooden dowel. If your internal peace shatters because someone cuts you off, or a piece of furniture leans at a 45-degree angle, you don't possess a life architecture. You have a fragile hobby. Up to this point, the focus has been on structural engineering. We've mapped out daily habits, built operational rules, and erected load-bearing walls. This is the hardware of existence. But hardware has limits. You cannot willpower your way through a toxic environment or a chaotic situation. If you try to force a stream to go uphill, your physical systems will stall. This brings us to the unseen force binding it all together, the harmony. This phase transitions from discipline, which is forcing yourself against resistance, into wisdom, simply responding accurately to reality. To stop glitching and start flowing, we have to look past the physical habits. We need to open up the source code and rewrite the invisible rules governing how we perceive our world. This is the control room of the metamind. To navigate here, we use a foundational operating system known as the 4DP. This represents target, truth, totally, and title, 4 non-negotiable architectural pillars required for transformation. Target is your true aim, the clear direction pulling your actions. Truth is radical self-honesty about your current reality. Totally is absolute commitment to the present moment, without keeping a secret escape route planned in the back of your mind. The 4th pillar, title, is the story-level code that generates all your character-level choices. The identity labels you wear dictate your behavioral reality. Compare the weight of saying, "I am an anxious person," to the shift of, "I am currently navigating anxiety." The first is a fixed verdict. The second is a fluid, wieldable title. This subtle change stops your brain's predictive machine from scanning for evidence that you are being persecuted. These pillars are not a buffet. You cannot pick the ones you like and skip the ones that require hard work. If a single pillar is missing, the structure collapses into incoherence. This chart is the root square, a mathematical map integrating internal pillars with external experience. Notice its fractal architecture. The central root splits into 4 branches: power, presence, proclivities, and proclamations, dividing outward into leaves and fruits, representing interconnected life domains. This structure operates on the 4th quarter principle. 3 distinct elements account for 75% of the construction. The final 25% is the overlap, the exact moment those initial elements fuse into a new capacity that none could produce alone. Mastery lives in that emergent synergy, the tailored utilization of how your habits overlap and interact to create entirely new autonomous capabilities. To execute this math, we have to scale down from life architecture to the smallest measurable unit of change, the quarter second of awareness. Inside that fraction of a second, we practice dual participation. This is the ability to be fully perceptive, feeling a genuine emotion, while simultaneously remaining receptive to the entire dynamic. You are the actor sweating on stage and the audience member calmly analyzing from the dark. To bypass the mental resistance of achieving this state, we use tools like Experiment 2. By employing collaborative stimulant specialization, specifically using targeted Spotify playlists to trigger precise cognitive states, we map the hidden highways of our own minds. String enough of these dual participation quarter seconds together, and you have a saturated hour. This is the exact mathematical formula for transforming reactive glitches into fluid autonomy. Eventually, the work shifts. You stop building the architecture because the construction is finally complete. The scaffolding falls away. The ultimate marker of this culmination is that the handles, frameworks, and tools become entirely invisible. You no longer consciously need them. Like driving a car across town without remembering the individual turns, the execution becomes automatic. We can trace this timeline. Years 1 through 3 are marked by striving, trying to force change through effort. Years 4 through 7 shift into practice, showing up with steady consistency. But year 8 and beyond is the stage of devotion. Transformation is no longer a goal you are trying to achieve. You are in love with the practice itself because it is who you are. You no longer have to consciously set boundaries or force yourself into a state of presence. Your body naturally executes them because they are woven into the fabric of your identity. This leads to the infinite game. Unlike a competition with a clear winner or a final level, the point here is simply to keep the game in motion and continue the process of development. Consciousness functions like a streaming service. While many wait for a mystical arrival, the actual work is simply deciding which thoughts and states get the most airtime. Most people spend their lives on autoplay, letting inherited stories and default habits dictate the cue. You can choose to step out of that loop and start curating your own content. The remote is in your hand, right now, this moment. What are you going to watch next?